This is the Mercedes EQE 53 AMG 4MATIC Plus with AMG driver's pack. So this is the most expensive, fastest, and top dog EQE there is out there. And today's big question is this worth a asking price of more than 130,000 euros? If you're new here, you may not know that I'm not a huge fan of the exterior styling of the EQE and the EQS. These two cars are very closely related. I don't think they are, the best of Mercedes design, especially when you compare them to, the S-Class and the E-Class. But for some reason, this 53 AMG 4MATIC Plus, with its stance, the rear spoiler, the front fascia, the front bumper, the way it just sits very low, these wheels, this color, I think it actually looks very cool, very mean, and it looks special. It doesn't look like, just a normal run-of-the-mill EQE. It looks special, and for that reason, I really do like it. It has some really odd proportions, the short rear overhang, but for some reason, I actually think it looks a little bit cool for that reason. It kind of reminds me of the Maserati Quattroporte 3 that came out like in 1994, which I'm a huge fan of the design. It's untraditional with these strange proportions, and this car reminds me of that. So it may just be my childhood nostalgia, but I actually really like the way this car looks. Again, if you've seen any of my EQE and EQS videos, you may know that I'm not a huge fan of this interior design with the hyper screen. I much prefer, the smaller screen that you can get in this car and even in AMG spec, which is really nice. This large screen here, these three screens with this large panel of a glass. It hasn't really grown on me that much, though the dashboard isn't as high in the EQE as I remember it being in the EQS. It may be I'm just used to it. I don't know. And also interior quality in the EQE and EQS isn't the best. A normal S-Class or an E-Class, even a C-Class is nicer when it comes to, switchgear and interior materials. So first off, hard touch plastics here on the steering wheel. In other Mercedes, you can get this covered in Nappa leather, and this being the most expensive AMG version, they should have gone that extra mile because they offer this in other cars. So I mean, how much could it cost? I could even pay for this. And also hard touch plastics here on the door really isn't acceptable. But with that being said, I'm not as critical to this car's interior as I am to the EQS, being a much more expensive car, being, the flagship electric Mercedes. This isn't that car, so I can live with, a little bit cheaper materials here and there. They have this really nice microfiber Alcantara-like material here on the headliner and all the way down here on the B-pillars. They could have just used that here on the door. So it really annoys me because it doesn't cost the manufacturers a lot more. And at least like with Porsche, give me the option to pay, I don't know, 200, 500, 700 euros just to get a little bit more niceties when you're already spending 131,000 euros for a car I would spec like this. But with that being said, this carbon fiber is really nice. The steering wheel, yes, the airbag cover could be nicer, but the steering wheel itself is pretty awesome and spectacular. And also these seats with the AMG logo there and also the AMG embossed in the headrest. It just feels special. And I know you can also get this car with red seat belts. I wish this car was opted with that because it would just make the interior feel, much more special. I'm not going to dive deep into, some of the infotainment system here and the controls. I've done that in my EQS 53 AMG video. I'll link that in the description box down below. But yeah, overall, it's an okay interior at this price point, but the AMG stuff just makes it feel special enough in my opinion. For being quite a bit smaller than the EQS on the exterior, I have to say that these rear seats are actually quite roomy and impressive for this size of vehicle. You have to remember that this is about the same size as a Porsche Taycan, e-tron GT, Tesla Model S long range, which I've just been testing for the past week. And in that car, I was a little bit disappointed by the rear seats because I didn't have a lot of knee room sitting behind myself, and also there was no room in the footwell of that car. This car though, look at that. I have about that much knee room. I'm 5'10" or 178 centimeters sat behind myself. And that's about twice as much as I had in the Tesla Model S long range. And also headroom, yeah, that is pretty decent. That's about 5-6 inches. 10, 12 centimeters. This is a very, very nice and comfortable rear seat. And also the seat cushion is quite a bit off the floor, so I have nice under thigh support. It's just a nice place to be. And also rear materials are the same as in the front, so you have the same hard touch plastics, but up here is nice, here is nice, and overall quality is okay. You also have this armrest here with dual cup holders. Yeah, this is actually a pretty nice and roomy rear seat. And even though you were a bit taller, maybe you're 6 foot, 6 foot plus, a tall person, you're going to be comfortable back here for long trips. Before I take you guys out on the road and tell you what this is like to drive, I just want to give a huge thanks to today's video sponsor, Elton. Elton is the most awesome charging app, and if you live in Norway, Sweden, Finland, or Denmark, you have to download it and check it out. Because listen to this, guys. One charging app, one payment card registered, you'll get a map of all the charge point operators in Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Denmark, and the app will actually let you charge at almost all of these with the app. So one charging interface, one card, you don't have to fiddle around with different types of apps. It is super, super awesome and simple. It will make your life so much easier. And also, if you have an app with your car, you can actually tether the app to your car and it will read out information like battery percentage, range, and then it can work as a route planner to tell you when to stop and charge, because the app actually knows how much battery you have left. It's pretty mind-boggling. So if you want to support the channel, go to the link down below and download the Elton charging app. So 130,000 euros isn't exactly true, because this car parked next to me, spec'd the way it is with all the bells and whistles, all the options, more than you need is more than 150,000 euros. So very, very expensive, but I spec'd one to my specification, 20-inch wheels, white paint, light colored Napa leather interior, you know, all the niceties, Burmester sound system, panorama sunroof. It came out to like 131,000 euros. So you don't have to spend 150,000 euros to get a nicely spec'd car. Starts from 116,000 euros, so you actually don't have to spend too much money to get a very, very nice spec'd one. We're not talking about, you know, Porsche options or even Audi e-tron GT options. Talking about specs, this car has a WLTP rated range of 525 kilometers. That is with the 20-inch wheels. This car with the 21-inch wheels is 487 or something like that. 0 to 100 kilometers an hour. This with the AMG driver's package is 3.3 seconds. Top speed 250 kilometers an hour and 687 horsepower. This thing is quick. So 90.6 kilowatt hour battery pack does 10 to 80% in about 28 minutes with a peak charging speed of 173 kilowatts. Now let's take you guys out on the road and I'm gonna tell you what this is like to drive. And I have to be completely honest, this caught me completely off guard. I wasn't expecting this to feel and drive as special as it does. And there's one setting that just makes everything go to 11, and this car is just fun and hilarious and has, you know, that little bit of special extra sauce that I've criticized, you know, a lot of performance electric cars for not having. And Mercedes and AMG have nailed it with this. You know, I came into this car having some sort of expectations. I've driven the EQE before. That's the 300 with rear-wheel drive. Great car, great comfort, especially at that price point. Great range, very quiet and luxurious. I've driven the EQS 53 AMG, you know, which is the cousin to this car. And even though that, you know, felt more special and better to drive than, you know, the 580, it didn't feel special. This feels special. It's from the first second you hop behind the steering wheel. I don't know, maybe it's the steering wheel itself, maybe it's the seats, maybe it's just the exterior styling, the stands, the wheels, the front bumper, this cool color I like, you know, that rear spoiler. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just I'm a sucker for AMG badging, nostalgia from my childhood, but this just feels special. And when you start driving it, it's really well sorted out, you know, this AMG suspension tuning, and they've done something here because this is more noisy, and also the 53, the EQS 53 is also more noisy than the normal versions, and I think that has to do with the front bushings. I think they have much stiffer bushings that gives you a little bit vibration in the steering wheel, but it also gives you great sense of feedback and feel in the steering wheel. And I've driven this back to back with my Porsche Taycan Cross Turismo. And that car has great steering. And it may be, both cars are on winter tires. This is on 21-inch wheels, that's on 20-inch wheels, but this steering is, in my opinion, better than in my Porsche Taycan Cross Turismo. And I never thought I was going to say that ever, because I remember, hopping from my e-tron GT to my Porsche Taycan Cross Turismo, and the Porsche it's just immediately, wow, this is Porsche steering, this is great. One of the huge issues, not issues, like the drawbacks or issue with the e-tron GT is that the steering is just Audi, it's numb, it's lifeless. Porsche, great steering, but this is just a level above. And then when you put this into Sport Plus, with this cool switch here on the steering wheel, the car lowers, everything just gets more taut and responsive, steering gets even sharper, and the low stance, the wheels, the stiffer bushings, whatever it is, this thing just comes alive. And then when you step on the throttle, you have that sound. And this sound is one of the best sounds in any electric car I have driven. I loved it in my Audi e-tron GT. I don't like it in the Porsche. That's why I didn't option my Porsche with it, because it's just overwhelming. It just feels synthesized and fake. But here, it just feels great. It's a really cool sound. So when you put this car into Sport Plus, the way it's still comfortable. It's on air suspension, but it's just a little bit more taut, a little bit more bumpy, but never unrefined. Even in Sport Plus, with the car lowered, it's more comfortable than the Tesla Model S, much more comfortable and refined than the Tesla Model S in comfort setting. But it just feels sporty, and the steering is so direct and lively. And then you have this sound. What this car has that a lot of people are scared of, the transition to EVs from performance cars, is a sense of sensation, a sense of drama and occasion. This has that plenty. I love driving this. The past 2 weeks I've had this and the Tesla Model S long range, and every time I've been done, testing or filming with that Tesla, I've parked it and then I've hopped into this to do everything, just go shopping, go to my physiotherapist, just every reason I can find to drive this car, I've driven this car, and it's great. It's great. I think it sums up the way this drives, perfectly. And when you put it back into comfort mode, it's quiet. There's no, augmented sound. The suspension is taut. The seats are comfortable. It's quiet, more quiet than the Tesla Model S long range when it comes to NVH levels. And also, range is very good. Charging is good. Yeah, let's hop to the conclusion, guys. You may guess where I'm going with this. You guys may have figured out already, I really like this car. A lot more than I thought I was gonna like it. I thought it was gonna be cool, but this car just feels special. It drives special, and at this price point, that is something, in my opinion, I think a car should offer. It just has a ton of character. And it's been, kind of interesting driving this back to back with the Tesla Model S long range, and also a little bit with my Porsche Taycan Cross Turismo. And where, after driving the long range, the Tesla Model S, and hopping back into my Porsche, I'm like, yeah, this is what you're paying for. This is a great car. But after driving my Porsche and then hopping back into this, I'm like, yeah, this is different. This feels more special in many places, and this may be because I live in Oslo, I live in Norway, where Porsche Taycans are a dime a dozen. Like literally, there are so many of them. It's not special. I've been seeing them all day while I've been filming this video. But it also, in many ways, feels more special than my Audi e-tron GT. It drives better than that car, much more sporty. And also considering that this is 131,000 euros spec'd this way. Yes, that is a lot of money, but a similar spec'd performing e-tron GT would be, an RS e-tron GT would be like 170, 180,000 euros. A Porsche Taycan Turbo, also same spec, same kind of horsepower, same type of performance, would be like 200,000 euros. This is similarly priced to the Tesla Model S long range. And when you think about that, the only thing that the Tesla offers better than this is the range, and also the supercharger charging network if you live in a place in the world where, well, that is a huge advantage. Not a huge advantage here. So yeah, like, For this price, this is so much cheaper than anything else, and it also feels very special and it looks special. Yeah, this is a really, really cool car, and maybe I'll get one of these in the future. Like, I'm seriously considering getting one of these because it's a very good car, a lot of performance, and even though, you know, the materials somewhere places aren't the best, I mean, everything else, like route planning is awesome in this car. Steering wheel, audio system, seats, comfort, performance, the way it looks, the way it drives, the way it makes you feel, yeah. As a package, this is really, really hard to beat and may just be my favorite electric car at the moment. So guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please drop me a thumbs up down below. And for more car content, as always, please subscribe. See you guys later and goodbye.